Hi, it's Ileana. I would like to share an interesting SSP op experience of memory recall that I started having recently. This happened in beginning of February 2017, the SSP op itself. And so I've been basically going through my various memories of this op and jotting down notes of what happened. And also, when the op was going on, I could remember what everyone and everything looked like. So, again, I'll have images accompanying my narration of this experience. So, in the beginning of February 2017, I was placed in a secret space program op where a high ranking government U.S. official was boarding an Earth Alliance carrier ship. This was a meeting session to brief the government official about off-world Earth Alliance assets in space, various assets they have on Earth, the types of military special projects bases, space stations, and ships that are located above Earth orbit, as well as on planets or moons such as Mars, for example. There was a discussion about maintaining the secrecy about extraterrestrial existence on Earth and off planet. Details were provided for the government official on how the secret space program groups operate and protocols on how disclosure or non disclosure is handled in media circles, alternative media, and in public events by government or other corporations involved in top secret projects regarding these matters. So basically, the government official was told this is how things are done in media circles, alternative media, public events, etc., in terms of disclosure or non disclosure parameters. And the Earth Alliance is involved in this very much so in these briefing sessions and protocols. The Earth Alliance carrier ship descended above Earth orbit in order to have full security measures. There were about 4 to 8 modified new fighter aircraft with 2 large and also 2 smaller anti-gravity engines on the aircraft, which accompanied the Earth Alliance carrier ship as security escorts until the carrier ship left the Earth's atmosphere. While the government official had been boarding the Earth Alliance carrier ship on a mobile stair platform, there were a team of security guards wearing gray-black light armor protective suits and carrying FN 4000 rifles, which are not officially on the market yet. These types of assault rifles are usually used by special ops military teams when on security detail or on recon missions. I actually have an FN 2000 assault rifle. It's semi automatic because I'm not military, and non military civilians can't have full assault rifles, so it's semi automatic. So I have an FN bullpup, actually. So I'm familiar with this type of weapon. I have one. And it's interesting. I've never fired it, but I like to collect them. And I have fired firearms before. I've fired guns and I've fired semi-automatic rifles and also just normal rifles. I don't like to do it anymore, but I like to collect them. I still like to fire handguns sometimes just for the practice of it. And this was actually part of my SSP training, how to handle firearms. Like, mostly for me, it was plasma weapons and laser weapons. There's also rail guns. I wasn't a fan of the rail guns. I liked the quieter weapons, like plasma ones and lasers. And I like to have the small firearms which are easily carried. They're strapped on to your uniform, so they're sidearms. I prefer the smaller sidearms to the larger, heavier weaponry. Again, for me, railguns felt heavy, so I never used to like those. That's just a side comment I have to this. When I was inside the Earth Alliance carrier ship, I remember doing logistics, like monitoring the ship's communications to make sure the carrier ship was not bugged with listening devices so no one could spy on the briefing and that there were no data leaks. I was encrypting all incoming and outgoing messages, checking for listening devices on the ship, scanning everyone who was boarding and leaving the Earth Alliance ship to make sure they did not have any listening devices or implants on them to spy on the Earth Alliance briefing session. This included all types of weapons as well. They were scanned for weaponry to make sure they didn't have any weapons on them. Because the weapons can be very small. Like it could be a little button even that emits a laser beam. Something small and square. A little square device or a button, and it's lethal. It could literally kill somebody in an instant. And I know this sounds very sci-fi, but small technology exists. It's like literally a button. You press it, and it emits a small laser from the whatever button device it is, or whatever square little remote device that somebody could conceal on their uniform or on their suit. So I was scanning for that as well to make sure they didn't have anything like that on them. And these things are very discreet in terms of listening devices, implants, and small weapons. So that has to be scanned always to make sure they don't have anything on them when they board ships or when they board aircraft, fighter aircraft and such. There's tight security measures for this stuff. While on the Earth Alliance carrier ship, I did not have the use of any data smart glass pads, as these could be potentially used as a form of a hacking mechanism to create a security leak. I could only use the encrypted consoles on the ship to monitor incoming and outgoing communications by the ship pilots, crew, and making sure the blocking jammer devices were working properly so the briefing session conversations cannot be overheard or recorded. I had been given a scanner wand before boarding the Earth Alliance carrier ship in order to scan everyone who was boarding the ship to check for listening devices, implants, and any types of small weaponry that could be carried on the person. Before everyone left the briefing session after it was over, they had been scanned again with the wand device to ascertain that there were no listening devices or implants that could have recorded what was being said or shown during the Earth Alliance briefing session. As well, they were scanned for weaponry. The thing that they're concerned about with security is that there are devices which can be teleported even on the ship during a briefing session. There is teleportation technology, and this can be done, so everyone is scanned multiple times when they board a ship and when they leave a ship, because they don't want anybody leaving with stuff they shouldn't be leaving with or bringing stuff on the ships that they shouldn't bring. There are various levels of security protocols before, during, and after briefing sessions to ensure the sensitive or secret data does not get into the wrong hands, or that there's no weapons of any type brought on the ship or leaving with the ship. That's very important, and these layers of security protocols are followed every time during these various ops, Earth Alliance ops, SSP ops. They're all very careful with security protocols, because again, they don't want any type of AI during these briefing sessions. No type of implants, recording devices, or weaponry allowed for government officials or any type of Earth Alliance personnel who board the ships. Security teams and some of the pilot crew do wear weaponry as needed, because they're security again. And they're there for protection details, so they have sidearms. When being on this SSP op, I remember I had been wearing a gray tight-fitted flight uniform with pants. I had short brown hair that was straight. I usually have blonde hair, but it's dyed, it's colored. My natural hair color is brown, so that's interesting. There was another woman there on the carrier ship who had black hair cut short and it was straight. She looked to be of partial Asian descent. She was a flight operations asset to the Earth Alliance carrier ship. The woman was wearing a military uniform that was black with some white detailing, and so it was a uniform top and pants. They also have uniforms where there's a top, a mid-thigh-high skirt with leggings and boots. So there are different options. And the uniforms they prefer is grayish or white with gray. Some of the assets do wear uniforms which are purely black or have gray or white detail. It's rare to see fully black uniforms, but there are options for uniforms, which is very important to me, I think. And the uniform is very comfortable because it fits to your body type. There's no stereotyping in these programs. The uniforms are designed for specific body types, and it's made to be comfortable when you wear it, because when you're on these ops you need to feel comfortable and you need to be able to move fast when you wear the uniforms. So it's designed for all kinds of body shapes and sizes and heights for assets and operatives. As well, there were 5 men dressed in black suits to brief the high-ranking government official. The suits were military, but not what the Army or Navy would wear. Those suits were designed differently, somehow, and made of possibly nanofiber material, because they did look like, again, light armor suits. From what I noticed, they weren't like our normal uniforms that I or the woman were wearing, so it was different. These 5 men were Earth Alliance liaison assets whose job it is to do briefing sessions with various government officials from different Earth world nations. So I thought I would share this experience of the SSP op that I had in early February of 2017. So I'll be attaching images of what the craft looked like, what the fighter jet aircraft looked like as well, what the personnel looked like, what I looked like as well. I remember having memories of other SSP personnel who were in the secret space programs who I actually had interviews with. So you'll see some images of them. I will not be mentioning names. I usually don't, because I don't want to get anybody in trouble by mentioning names, so I don't do that, because these people have memories of SSP experiences and being assets. So that's why I don't mention names. I don't want to expose anybody. That's not what I'm doing, and that's not why I'm sharing my stories of my SSP memory recall experiences. I can mention myself because I've talked about it before, and I have no issues talking about my memory recall of what I've participated in or what has happened to me. I believe it's actually good to talk about these things because, these things don't seem like dreams to me. They don't seem like sci-fi, fantasy, creative imagination. Not at all. I could mostly fully recall what happens to me on these ops and the type of weapons that were used, the type of ships. I can even find imagery of this on the internet using very specific keyword searches and phrases, because I deal with information. I worked in public services in a research I don't want to say what exactly it was, but it's a research facility. So in public services. So I know how to put information together and collate it, and that's what I did in data information centers in the ICC as well, on Mars bases and other places. So I'm quite familiar with how to do keyword search phrases and put and collate information together to figure things out. And that's a specialty that's very valuable to me in this current lifetime I'm having, and examining all of my SSP memory recall experiences, because that's what I used to do there as well. So that all kind of comes together to help me remember what's happened to me and what's still going on. And I'm sometimes taken on these ops, so it's still happening to me, not on a regular basis, but from time to time it does happen. So I just wanted to share that, and it's my experience. I'm not claiming to be a whistleblower or an insider. I'm just sharing my experiences of being an SSP asset. Mainly ICC, but I've had other experiences as well. So it's quite interesting. So thank you and namaste.